You're watching Game Changers TV, powered by Community Foundation, Middle Tennessee.
What our organizations fail to realize about Black people is that we are philanthropists. My personal mission is that every Black person recognize themselves as a philanthropist, and every opportunity they come up against sees their philanthropy as valuable. Not just because they give $1, not just because their name is on a building, not just because they've shown up to volunteer, but any way in which they have honored their ancestors and themselves walking into a space to push their people forward. That is how philanthropy works. And so organizations are often missing that piece because it is all about the dollar. And Black folks are communal people. We have been in community with each other. Building community with each other is often how our philanthropy lives out.
It's a lot that organizations don't understand about the Black community, but I think more so they need to recognize that, like, it's not a one size fit all. Like, we're very diverse and varied in what we do and how we impact community, and they need to be approached as such. So I think if organizations really go in with the authentic, genuine approach to get to know each and every kind of game changer, community changer that's trying to make an impact, and let that be shown in how they're giving and how they're courting and how they're trying to approach just Black philanthropy in general. But definitely, like, we're not a monolith, you know what I'm saying? I do something very different than other Black folks may do, right? And so, like, they need to be approached the same, not just trying to put us all in the same boat and do the same thing like a template. Nah, like, everybody should be customized.
I'll go back to we're not a monolith, right? Everyone has, that conversation the other day was like, the word philanthropy, they feared it. They were like, that word scares me. And I'm like, okay. On my side, I'm like, it's the love of humanity. I don't like, so I think that we're all individuals. I think that there's different places where people see it. I do think that there's people who look at the right now, who are, like, I'm in the trenches. I need to help right now. I need somebody to pull me from the stream. And I get that. And so I think maybe that conversation is different than someone who has had the opportunity and been blessed enough to be in a position to where that's not their reality. And so I think it's a different conversation. So I think that's sort of where I see it. Did I answer the question?
Yes. What do organizations understand about the Black community?
Yeah, I think most organizations just think, well, they just want to buy cars or do whatever they think, they think of it as a whole monolith. They don't see that there's complexities, there's different backgrounds, there's different experiences. And I don't think that they take the time to actually learn. I think you have to listen first. What is it? People may not remember what you say, but they'll always remember how it made you feel. And so, Maya Angelou's quote rings true to that, where if you don't understand the community, then you're not really helping. You're just giving money and you're not really engaged in helping them turn up evolve.
I think the generosity of the Black community can be understated because often we don't give for show. We'll give in ways that are based on needs of people we see right in front of us, who are next door to us. We tithe at church, and those aren't always visibly seen. And I think part of why Black people maybe haven't given as much is we're not asked as much. And so I think that because we're not asked and then we don't give, sometimes in the formal mechanisms, it's perceived that we're not giving, when research shows, as I said, that we actually give at higher rates. But just that it can be through informal communal means as opposed to more formal structures.
I would say we are proud about our new generations because they came out with different highlights in the arts, in science, in education. So the community came out, showed itself, and in serving, in giving, in helping, the community showed itself that is capable. So the Black community, as we talk about philanthropy, is much involved in philanthropy.
I think the most important thing that's misunderstood is that all of the issues that the Black community face, the community stakeholders have the answers for them.
And so, again, it's not this co-opting of I had to come into the community and do the work. Like the excellence, the genius is absolutely already in existence there. I think the other thing too that's a misunderstanding is like you don't get to choose who the leaders get to be. And I think sometimes even internally we struggle with that too as well. We got to also take cues from our young people too. Some of the things that are being addressed and some of the issues that are being solved, our young people have the answers for them. But oftentimes they're not identified as leaders, and particularly from the external communities, because we have this way of thinking that you have to be a certain age and at a certain point of your life to lead, and that's just not the case. And so the misconception of who gets the lead and who gets the investment is hugely miscalculated. In addition to that, it's just this ideal of that, like, I need you to come in and do something for me. When no, I just need you to invest and let the folks who are already coalescing in the community do the work that they probably already been doing, but the investment allows them to scale and to be able to have a bigger impact.
I think the assumption that we are not givers, the assumption that we are not the first to come to the aid or rescue of others, the assumption that even if we have lack individually or collectively in a particular area, that we still don't want to give. If there's anything that anybody knows anything about Black folks in America, is that we're givers, period. We always inviting people to the community. We may say, hey, you're invited to the cookout, right? That's an expression that we use. But at the end of the day, we're talking about who's going to be invited to the community. We have open doors all the time. So I think there's an assumption that because there may be a need or that because there may be a lack, however you define lack, that we are not always also givers in that same space.
That's what's missing from this conversation. What's missing from this conversation is that folks are trying to lead Black philanthropy and they're not Black. You can't do that and then think that we are going to follow you. That is the way in which the world has always worked, but it's not the way in which my philanthropy works for my people. And so those are the areas that are missing that we really should take a look at. Black folks can lead themselves. What we're looking for is the wealth that has been stolen from us. And so those organizations certainly can leverage their privilege and their power to support us, but they cannot define how Black philanthropy lives itself out. That is for Black people, and Black people know what to do.